You know, coming up with intros for these things is like probably the most difficult thing I have to do for an unboxing. It's like, my first thought was, oh, hi there, I haven't seen you guys in months. And my next thought was, hi guys. And like, you know, I've already used both of those. So like, oh, what should I do? Yeah, fuck it, I'll just talk about it. I hope you guys have been enjoying those Collection DX YouTube reviews that I've been doing. Wait, Ava's been doing CDX reviews? Yes, Ava's been doing CDX reviews. Go check them out in the description below. I've made quite a few of them. So, yay me, yay. Dude, I made a slaughtering. And this is something I don't talk about. I usually don't talk about. I'm not known for this. But, like, I made a slaughter on Amazon for the last, what was it, a couple of months ago. And it's just, my mind is just blown. What is my preferred type of music? I like listening to music. And I enjoy whistling and tapping and doing all kinds of, what am I doing, I don't know. I enjoy listening to music, very much so. What is my particular favorite genre of music? Orchestral. Sometimes with a chorus mixed in, sometimes with a soloist mixed in, whatever. But it's primarily instrumental orchestral music. That is my preferred. And if I have to narrow it down further to a subgenre of orchestral music, it would be television and movie original scores, original soundtracks. I've brought them up previously. You may have noticed I've got, I think that's 25 CD soundtracks right there. It's all CD soundtracks right there. That's not video games. That's not magazines. Or why would a magazine be on a CD? Maybe back in Amazon Online days, or America Online days, whatever it is, which I never had access to, whatever. But anyways, yeah, those are all TV and movie soundtracks right there. But anyways, I made a hell of a slaughter. I made a hell of a find the last few months. And I've been collecting for the better part of 26 years. I'm one of those people let me try that again. I'm one of those people who believes that physical media isn't quite dead yet. I never collected vinyl, but I haven't gotten into app stores and listening to music on a cell phone and iPads and iPods and whatever. I haven't gotten into the digital download thing. Now, sure, sometimes I'll listen to stuff on YouTube and whatever, illegal, copyright, blah blah blah, whatever. Matter of fact, I've gotten caught in a little bit of that myself a couple of times. One of the reasons why all of my most recent CDX reviews, video reviews, haven't used, what's it called? Oh, I totally forgot. What is that called? I think it's in English. Let me see. Speaking of CD soundtracks I collected, this is the very first one I've ever collected. Actually, no, I got this as a gift. Let's see, what was it called? No, was it? Marking Time Waiting for Death. That's the one. That, in case you're wondering what the song is, it's Marking Time Waiting for Death. By the way, this is a bootleg CD soundtrack. This is a bootleg. This is not an official release. So if the CD that you collect has this on it, it's not officially released by Ganex or whoever did the music. So don't get this one. I didn't know it at the time, and quite frankly, I don't care. But just be aware, this is unlicensed. It was back in '96 when I got this, so shut up. I didn't even know about bootlegs back then. In any event, Marking Time Waiting for Death was the song that I used for my CDX intros. And then I don't remember what the Rebuild 1.0 version was called, but in any event, it was around 2012 I realized, yeah, the snowflakes and the triggered people who like to get triggered, they're starting to complain that it sounds like stalker or raping music. What the fuck does that have to do with toy reviews? Get over yourselves. Seriously. But in any event, I felt that the Ava Unit 4A Intro version 2.0 was in need of an update. So in 2012, right around the time I stopped reviewing for CDX, I was looking for a brand new intro sequence. As it turns out, 2012 was the year of YouTube crackdown on officially licensed music and all those things. That's when that whole thing kicked off, was 2012-ish. And I was also kind of at the point where I'd just slowed to a dead stop on reviewing, so I kind of lost the motivation to do it. Believe it or not, I actually did have a new song picked out. I mean, and here's a hint. It was not from Evangelion, any Evangelion. I did have a song picked out, but I had not completed the video footage and all the things I was going to do. It was going to be much more involved than just the Collection DX title and a picture of Solo Jigoku and Eva uniforms. It was going to be more involved than that. Unfortunately, it was done in Windows Movie Maker. I don't have Windows Movie Maker anymore, and oh, by the way, I never finished it. So, yet another thing for CDX I never finished. In any event, I was working on it in 2012, but multiple reasons it never happened. But just be aware, I was working on it. So the question is, for these most recent CDX video-only reviews, yes, video-only reviews, why didn't I put an intro sequence in there? Well, I couldn't come up with a generic, duty-free, non-copyrighted song that fits. It just I've sampled a little here and there. Just what I've tasted, it's just not working. It's not happening. So yeah, I had plans to do CDX intro version 3, but it didn't happen. So until I can come up with something equally important and special and whatever, or until I can contact, Paramount Pictures or something like that and ask them, hey, can I use one of your songs for my intro sequence? Until I do that, pretty much all my intros for CDX are going to be, well, the intros you've seen on these most recent video reviews. So, yeah, unfortunate but true. It's kind of half me being lazy, half YouTube wanting more money, and half, well, actually that'd be 1/3 me being lazy, 1/3, okay, in any event, yeah. So I collect TV and movie original scores. Now, to be fair, what I do not collect is something the album, where it has a bunch of featured artists on it, or featuring the voice talents of, or the licensed pop culture or pop rock music, whatever it is. That's not what I collect. I collect the original scores. So James Horner, rest in peace. Jerry Goldsmith, rest in peace. Danny Elfman, John Williams, who all? David Arnold. There's a couple of them. Hans Zimmer. I'm a sucker for Hans Zimmer. Who isn't right now? He's basically the rival to John Williams at this point, but I won't fight that too hard. Let's see, who else? Yeah, that's kind of it. So, but I mean, there are plenty of other CD soundtracks I'd love to get my hands on. But it's just those are kind of the limited ones, and just a few of the the original film composers. Oh, who's that other one? Got two of his. What is it? Oh, I'm killing myself. Oh shit. Crash. Let's see. Steve Jablonsky. He's one of the Hans Zimmer clones. His name is Steve Jablonsky, or however you pronounce his name. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Anyways, in case you don't know, he's not a household name, but you have heard his music. If you watch Bayformers, you know his music. So anyways, I've got a couple of Bayformers CD soundtracks over my shoulder, and I've also got one of his earlier ones. What was it? It was actually, for some reason, someone in Japan, over in Japan, had the bright idea to hire an American film composer to do the music for an anime movie. It was weird. And so again, I apologize for butchering this name, Steve Jablonsky. I know I'm saying it wrong, but I haven't heard it otherwise. He did the music for an okay anime movie. It was called Steam Boy. It was okay. It's good. The music was really good too. It's just the movie was, it was okay. So yeah. So there's a whole bunch of music still love to get my hands on. There's actually a lot of stuff in there from the 90s and early 2000s, or 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Anyways, as I started out this intro sequence, for his rather long intro sequence, but this is how I operate, I made a killing on a number of CD soundtracks. So not only do I just collect CD soundtracks, but I also don't mind, if it's in the realm of able to afford it, I'll also go for extended or special edition soundtracks that have, you know, much more provided than the basic release. For example, let's see. For example, I've got the original release to The Hunt for Red October. Now, the problem is, there's only 10 tracks on it. And they only go for about, what's the total on here? It doesn't say. I think it's only like 40, 45 minutes or something like that. And one of those tracks wasn't even in the movie, so it means it was a bonus track, which really pisses me off. But I do like the music. It's actually got a lot of synthesizer in it. Was it 86? 1990. It's got a lot of synthesizer in here that's in the actual movies. Like, wow, I didn't realize there was much artificial music in there. Artificial music. Synthesizer. Anyways, yeah, I've got this. But then, about 3 months ago, see, this is December 2nd. November, October. So it's been 3 months ago, I found out that in 2017 they released an extended version of The Hunt for Red October with all 24 original soundtracks. No, that's not true. Let's see. 20 original tracks, and then it has some extras. It's got some stuff on here which wasn't in the movie that was added onto this. And kind of a nice treat, they've got the choral version of the national anthem of the Soviet Union. Which, if you listen to it, despite the political and national, international, blah, 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 that's kind of a nice song. It's not bad. It's got a good melody to it. And if the translated words are to be believed, and there's many ways to translate one word from one language to another, I like the lyrics to the anthem of the Soviet Union. Which is weird, because they've changed their lyrics to like 7 or 8 times over the decades. It's weird. So anyways, yes, I got this, and I'm pleased as punch. This next one, oh, I am going to be the envy of Trekkers worldwide and for all decades to come. I got my hands on one of the rarest of rarest gems, so rare in fact that only 3,000 units were ever made worldwide, and I mean ever. And I got my hands on one of them 3 months ago for, was it $25 or $30? Here's the creepy thing though. These were not available in general release. I mean, ordinarily, CD soundtracks, you know, they appear all over the place and whatever. They make thousands of these things, tens of thousands, nationwide. But this particular soundtrack was limited to 3,000 units worldwide. Ugh. And so I'm not kidding when I say I'm the envy of Trekkers worldwide, because I've got the CD soundtrack to goddamn Galaxy Quest. Oh my god! Yes! Yes! This was not in general release, by the way. Let's see, when was this released? 2012, so this is actually a reissue. I do know it was limited, so like this physical disc right here, this is not a special edition. It's actually exactly the same as what it was previously released, but like this is like one of the rare CD soundtracks where, like, for whatever reason they don't release it. I have no idea how much the reflection is going on here. But, oh man, I've got the music to Galaxy Quest. Fuck yes. Oh, do not rub my house. Please, do not. It's not worth it. I got this off of Amazon, by the way. Not eBay, Amazon. And it was sealed. It was factory sealed when I got it. Oh, I think I got it from I got it from Great Britain. That's where this was at. So, yes. Oh, thank you. Let's see, should I Oh, speaking of limited releases, this next one, I actually got, before the others, I got this next one in July, I think it was. It's not a well-known track. Most people, if you ask most American moviegoers either today or 30 years ago, 20 years ago when it originally came out, they're going to be like, what is this movie? I don't know. Anyways, previously it was only on vinyl, which means an LP, a record, you know. But the problem the problem is the movie was an abysmal failure. The movie was so bad that that when the movie tanked in the theater, it literally took the studio that made it down with it. The studio that made this movie did not exist after 1991, okay? That's how bad this movie was. Which is the reason why it's been turned into a cult classic, and the reason why it got a special extended edition version. What am I talking about? Robot Jocks. Oh yeah. Now, let's see. What's this? Oh, okay, that's what that is. They actually did release, I mean, this was originally released on vinyl because CDs had not quite happened when this showed up. Or they had happened, but it wasn't, like, popular enough to warrant making an original CD. So there was no original score. So this is the first time, and was it 2015? 2017. This came out last year. This is the first time that the entire score for Robot Jocks has been released. And it's got the basic 19, which is actually quite a bit, and then it's got a bonus 6 tracks on here. So, oh man, Robot Jocks. Now, in case you're wondering who scored it, don't worry, it's a French national who did it. He's a no-name over here. I think he only did like I don't even know if he's still doing it. But anyway, it's like, oh yeah, I got the extended. I got the special edition version of Robot Jocks. I'm so happy about that. This next one, everybody, all of us who are watching this video, we already know this next movie, okay? Some of these, whatever. Hunt for Red October, maybe you know it. Robot Jocks, we all know this one. But you do all know this one. Again, special extended version, came out in 2015 when this was reissued. This was also a CD soundtrack that was released on LP originally, but didn't make. It may have been made onto a CD soundtrack, but I'm not certain. As I'm saying this, I'll have to check, and I'm sure the captions will correct me later on. Shame on me for not knowing right now. I've got the complete collector's edition version of The Last Starfighter. Hell yes. I played this thing non-stop for like a week, and I just had it on repeat on that stereo right back there. It's just playing over and over and over. It's like dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da da da, and you know how that one goes, okay? It's like I'm bloody happy. And then there's one more, not as special edition-ish, although there might be a special edition just because it's crossed its own 20th anniversary. Oh my God, where does the time go? But this is actually a case of I knew it existed a long time ago, I wanted it a long time ago, but it just didn't happen. This is also a case of, I mentioned earlier how I get the original scores, I don't get the album or the, music from whatever it is. I prefer the original scores, that's what I'm looking for. So this is a case of got my hands, I was gifted, I don't remember if it was Christmas, birthday, whatever, but I was gifted the album, which had almost none of the original score on here, and my heart just, ugh. I actually still have it. It's still sealed. I don't have it. Or I've got it. It's still sealed. I never opened it because, like, I don't give a flying fuck. But anyways, recently on Amazon, yeah, recently on Amazon I picked up the original score to Men in Black. The first one, and only the first one. The second one was nothing, was supposed to be special, but it failed, and I haven't seen the third one, so I can't comment. And I'm not going to comment. Either way, it's Danny Elfman, and it sounds awesome. Here's the creepy thing, though. When I was listening to this the first time, I was like, wow, this sounds a lot like the first Mission Impossible movie. Now, not just because Danny Elfman composed the music for the first Mission Impossible movie, which I do have, by the way, which is great, by the way. But like, they sound exactly the same. It's like you could intercut one, a track from one movie to the other back and forth. But the interesting thing is, this is like, when was this? This is 1990, I think. 97. This was 97. Mission Impossible came out in 94-ish, something 94, 95-ish, something. Well, yeah, something along those lines. But anyways, you can kind of hear. And I'm not a music critic. I'm not. I'm just saying my 2 cents on the matter, and I'm just saying it out of my ass in the moment. What's interesting is that this was kind of around the time when Danny Elfman kind of stopped using the kind of the heavy downbeat or the heavy offbeat that he's known for. Nightmare Before Christmas, bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da bum ba da ba da bum ba da ba da. Boys and ghouls of every age. You got the heavy downbeat. Beetlejuice. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 na 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 na. We da 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 da. And then you've got Batman, which I'm totally blanking on all of a sudden, and I don't have. Gosh darn it. My dad has it, but I don't. But what's interesting is that this kind of sounds like, well, like it's a good score. Absolutely, I love it. But it's kind of like somebody trying to sound like Danny Elfman, especially in the main theme for Men in Black, and even in Mission Impossible. There's almost no sign of Danny Elfman anywhere in Mission Impossible. Like everybody knows the Hans Zimmer score for Mission Impossible 2, but Mission Impossible 1 is usually overlooked as the weakest of all Mission Impossible movies, and unfortunately, as a result of this, Danny Elfman's incredible score for the first movie gets overlooked really easily. But what's interesting is that I was listening to this, it's like, wow, this sounds just like Mission Impossible. It's like unused cues from one movie were just saved and used in the next one. It's kind of like the guy who did the music for the first Iron Man movie, saved the unused music from Iron Man, and then reused it in Pacific Rim. It's kind of the same thing. It has exactly the same sound. It's so kind of sort of generic and blah, and like, this is Danny Elfman, really? I knew it was Danny Elfman. I was like, oh yeah, Danny Elfman. Woo! But like, this is Danny Elfman. This is what he sounds like. If you listen to what Elfman did for the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, that doesn't sound like Danny Elfman. It really doesn't. And I'm kind of thinking it was around the mid to late 90s where he kind of lost his unique sound. Oh, he uses the same instruments, electronic and percussion and blah, blah, blah. Like, no. He kind of lost it. The heavy downbeats, the heavy offbeats, he lost that. It just kind of disappeared for some reason. Well, yeah, still, I'm glad I got all of those, and I've gotten a couple of others over the years. So I'm like really happy that 3 months ago, within a 1 month period, I got 5 different soundtracks to movies from the 90s and early 2000s. Like, oh hell yes. So yeah, I made a bit of a killing there, and I'm really, really pleased with myself. But that's not the reason why I was making this video. Aside from those CD soundtracks, which are relatively cheap, they're like in the $15 to $25 range, and I can kind of snatch up a whole bunch from a bunch of different locations all at one time and get free shipping or whatever it is. I forgot the free shipping. Aside from that, I haven't really bought anything for myself for the last 2 months. I've just been kind of sitting on it. Had a bit of a slight medical scare. Well, that's not fair to say. We're in really a medical concern with me specifically, but it turned out it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I haven't spent a lot of money, so one of the reasons why I haven't done a lot of unboxings or whatever recently is A, I have run out of space. I have no idea where I'm going to put this today, or after I'm done shooting this. I have no idea where I'm going to put it. And B, shit, I just forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I hate this Asperger's thing. It's just like, I'm building up to this really great point, and then when I finally get to it, I'm like, what am I talking about? You've seen me do that a number of times. Black Friday sales. Or at least if I'm not going to do it, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it at all. As a result of this, it also means that I've missed all of, was it Power of the Primes? Transformers Powers of the Primes? I've missed all of it, and I'm terrified because I don't have a lot of money to play with. I've been saving and saving for a while now. I don't want to miss her. I do not want to miss Volcanicus, and I do not want to miss that Optimus Prime that changes into Orion Pax. I don't want to miss either one of those, and it may very well end up happening. God damn it. But I know about this one for a bit longer than I did about those, so a bit. How do you like Japan? How do you like Japan? Why are these... What's going on here? I mean, I know this is Black Friday we're talking about, but can we do something about this? One of the reasons why I didn't get to this yesterday is because we've actually been renovating most of our bathrooms and our kitchen. So it's been kind of hectic here, and today is like the first day in 3 weeks where I've actually had like any time to myself, so anyways, I wanted to get these for a while, at least for this year. Just haven't had the chance to get them. We've got the Good Striker. God damn it, that name. We've got the Red Dial Fighter, Blue Dial Fighter, and surprise, surprise, the Yellow Dial Fighter. And by the way, those are not translated names. Those are the actual names. They actually say Yellow Dial Fighter, Blue Dial Fighter, Good Striker. That they actually say the English words. And I'm noticing this rather unusual trend in Japan where, for whatever reason, the tab is on the front of the box rather than the back of the box. So you can't hang it as easily. It's a curious thing. Maybe it's so that they can like stack them. Maybe that's what they're going for nowadays. I'm not certain. I mean, they don't have the holes in the top. These aren't really meant to hang on pegs. So I'm not entirely certain why they're not putting, why they're putting these. I mean, they should be able to hang, you know, like this. These would be the front of the boxes. In an American market, this is what it would be like. But in recent years, they're kind of doing it this way. It's weird. Whatever. And even the larger one. This is the back of the box. This is the front of the box. It's strange. But in any event, red is leader. We're going to start with red. Now, I did try to get the Lupinranger, which is what this combined is. I tried to get the Lupinranger, but it was sold out. So, unfortunately, I had to do it this way. Was it cheaper to do it this way? It was Black Friday. So, yeah. By the way, that reminds me, as a quick update, not in January, or yeah, right, not in December, but in January, my niece will be making her worldwide debut. So, yay! Wow, these are tiny, which doesn't surprise me one bit. I don't think I'm going to need the instructions though, which is pretty darn sad. What did I open up recently? I needed the instructions. Oh, it was those trains from Shinkalyan. I was like, you know, I'm not going to take a risk. I'm going to open the instructions. I'm kind of glad I did at the time. But in typical Super Sentai affair. Oh. You know, now that I see it in person, that the face of Lupinranger isn't as small as I thought it was going to be. I briefly considered getting the, kind of a neat looking F-22 wannabe. I briefly considered getting the Versus changer after it was announced and after I got over this thing is so neat, this show is awesome. After I got over all of that, I considered the Versus Magnum, or the Versus changer, I'm sorry. I considered it, but ultimately, if, and it probably will be, if this is all that I get from Lupin versus Pato, or Lupin versus Pat, then do I really need the sound thing for just one Robo? Not really, no. So, the only paint applications are the nose, the rim of the hat, the hat itself, and then the top of the wings. It's so bland, it's so boring, it's all painted in red, and it's very dull, and just not having it. Oh, the wings are the... Well, the vertical I'm sorry, the diagonal stabilizers, the tails, those are PVC and they're painted red. Hmm. Oh, so the horizontal stabilizers, those are also PVC and painted. Are these? No, the wings are ABS and they are not painted. But yeah, no landing gear. I mean, I suppose that sort can slide into the Versus changer, so whatever. Alright, I'll leave it alone. Okay. Each one of these has their own little special features, so I guess I might as well bring it up. When you turn the dial on the dial fighter, let's see, face is showing there, I've already shown it. This is apparently the special feature of the red dial fighter. It's some sort of... I'll be honest, the show is coming to an end next month. I've only seen like 4 episodes of Lupin versus Pato. I keep saying Pato, Lupin versus Pat. I've only seen like 4 or 5 episodes, so I don't know what this is. Well, I mean, it's got like little guns on either side of the nose here. That's all well and good, but in terms of a gimmick or something, what it has is I think it's like a net or some sort of a dart launcher of some kind when it opens up like this. That's pretty damn lame, if you ask me. But nothing special there. By the way, I should point out, apparently they felt the need to make paper instructions when all you do is just turn the dial and that's it. What a waste of paper. There actually was a time in the past in Super Sentai where the instructions were on the back of the box and that was it. Or it was on the side of the box and that was it. That's it. I mean, that's all there is. How sad is that? They feel the need to make some paper instructions for it. It's one step. It's turn and then the fins fold up. That's it. That's all the transformation there is, and they felt the need to make that. And a part count apparently. What? Boy, the Mecha line from Pato, or Lupin versus Pato, burned out quickly. I'm glad they brought back super vehicles, but just, wow, that's really big. That's what she said. It doesn't turn. It doesn't turn very well at all. You can spin it by hand, but you can't blow on it. Lame. These Transformers, they do that. So anyways, here's the blue dial fighter, which does not have a rocket engine, by the way. It's propeller driven, just in case you're wondering. It does turn, just you can't blow on it. That's disappointing. I don't know why they didn't. Whatever. That's it. I can point the gun forward, straight up into itself. So this is the attack mode. All these have like a vehicle mode and an attack mode. This is the attack mode. So. I didn't realize how obstructive these the sensor reader thingies were. You know, I almost wish it would have been like a, oh, what can I call it? I wish it had been a, oh, why am I blanking? Maybe like a laminated paper of some kind, like they printed it on and then they put a laminate across, or you know, some sort of a plastic sheet or something across the top. Then it wouldn't have to have these little bumps on it. Although now that I think about it, when they tried to do the card reader thing and the Tensoder from Gosager, those were pretty expensive and they're also pretty large too. So maybe this is the best they could do. Anyways, I don't even know what the Silver/Gold Ranger is called. He's like something, I think it's like X-Emperor, Cross-Emperor, or something like that. And I don't care. You know, it's tragic and ironic at the same time. What that thing does, with that silver and gold thing right over there, what that thing does, that's what they should have done in Tokiger, and they didn't. Like that would have been great for Tokiger, but I mean, it's just a big pile of nothing. And it's also a hinging device, and it's also a weapon, and it's also the robot. So it's a, let's see, what would be quad? 5 would be, let's see, quad is 4, what's 5? It's a pentachanger, because it's got the 2 separate trains, that's one mode, and then it's got blaster turns into reversible blaster, or returns into whatever that stupid thing is, and then it's got 2 robot modes, and then it's the combined thing with Good Striker and all the others that I totally don't want to know the name of. Captions, don't you dare. Yeah, I'm not getting that. So yeah, Patranger burned out pretty damn fast. Or Lupinranger burned out. In terms of its mecha line, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been harping and haranguing for almost 10 years now that they didn't have vehicles. Super vehicles is what I'd wanted. And you saw my initial reaction when I did my initial reaction of almost 1 year ago when I posted it. I was like, oh, finally, super vehicles. And when they did it, it was like, you know, once you get over it and you look at it, it's like, eh. Most of the accessory mecha have been real burnouts too. Just, what does a fire truck have to do with the police? Nothing. What does a crane have to do with the police? Nothing. What does I can understand a dirigible, a blimp, being part of the thieves. I can understand that. Okay, whatever. Because it's an exotic form of travel back in the 17 and 1800s when what was his name? Arsene Lupin was created, and when he was doing his thing. It's like a dirigible, a balloon, okay, and you want to add turbofan engines to the back? Okay, fine. You want to add a wrecking ball to it? Okay. You want to add Mickey Mouse hands to it? Why? Oh, so not only is it a limb, but it's also a helmet? No. I can understand the blimp, but just the execution is what I'm kind of complaining about, mind you. And apparently they had condensed down Boeing 747s back in the 16 and 1700s when the popular mode of transportation was horseback. And oh, by the way, that doesn't look any better either. I do like the tank, or whatever that thing is supposed to be. It's like, and as I understand it, it's kind of confused in what it is in the show. Like, apparently it, like, the Lupinranger got their hands on it and they used it, but officially it belongs to the Patranger. Like, how does that work? Don't tell me, I don't care, because I haven't watched it. If I ever do watch it, I want to be surprised. So please, no spoilers. But just, what? The tank is kind of neat. I do kind of like it. It has a big old titty boner coming out of its chest, but that being said, like, these the yellow and blue dial fighters have the exact same kind of skid landing gear. It's designed like the forearm. Spoiler alert: the forearm is molded differently, but for whatever reason they have the exact same design of landing skid. I kind of wish this had been an actual helicopter. Like, I can live with it being a VTOL thing. That's not what bothers me. I can even... Oh, those don't turn. That's unfortunate. These don't turn. Grr. I like that. And then this is like a tail rotor. Kind of. I mean, if it was a rotary wing aircraft, wait, is this is this considered rotary wing or fixed wing? Because like it has to have these turning. Well, what is the V-22? Is the V-22 considered it's a hybrid vehicle. It's a combination of both a rotary and both a rotary and a fixed wing. But then, if that's the case, what is this? I suppose this would be the same thing, except that these don't turn, and it's not rotors. It's turbofans. So like, and then they've got this on the backside. Wow, that turns really well. Color me impressed. How does that work? I don't know. Anyways, yellow dial fighter. A very hollow looking saw blade, I'd like to point out. The cockpit is unfinished. What the hell? If you look at it from this angle, you can see the black framework, the frame of the cockpit. But then if you look at it from the side, it was never painted. The cockpit is painted. The piece that they used, is it a separate piece? Difficult to tell. Yeah, it's a separate piece. The cockpit is painted red, and then the frame, the whatever it's called, is painted black, but they didn't finish the black markings on either side of the cockpit. Wow. Considering that's the most detailed thing you've got on this whole thing, and the tiny little arrow right there, considering that's your most important detail, I'm really surprised that they... What's the opposite of splurge? That they didn't go in and finish that cockpit detail. That's disappointing. That's cheap. But I kind of like what's happening here. And that's the attack mode for the yellow dial fighter. Which, I like that. That works for me. Does it disappoint me that these can't turn? Nah, I'm not going to worry about it. What surprises me is you can't turn the turbofans in this direction. That's what's missing. So I don't care that the turbofans themselves, the little rotors, I'm not concerned about that. What I am concerned about is that they don't turn in this direction. That's what's disappointing. So, all right. And then kind of the one that makes all the rest of it worth it. Oh, it's taped twice. I wonder why. Well, so long as everything's in there, as I understand, it's only the good sticker's only a single piece. As long as everything is provided, I am not concerned. And somehow they still managed to sneak an animal into a purely, well, I say purely, a super vehicle line. Boo. Just boo. I think I can take a risk. Yeah, it only comes as a single piece. I think I'll take a risk and not open these up. Considering it's a single piece, how difficult can it be? The only thing that concerns me is if there's batteries. I may or may not have batteries, I'm not sure. Ah. Looks like it comes with its own, yeah, it comes with its own batteries because it's got one of those little please remove me tags sitting in there, so. From what I've been hearing, the sales for Lupinranger have been doing really well, but the sales for Patranger have been abysmal at best. How weird is it, like a show that's a toy line that's depended on having both sides sell equally well, only one side is selling really well and the other one is a shelf warmer. Wow. Probably because nobody believes in a pink police officer. Yeah. Pink and green and red. You know, honestly, I would rather it had been like, not yellow, gold or orange or orange and maybe a different kind of blue. Like this might have been a good opportunity to have the lead ranger on each team be blue. That might have been a good opportunity because like a thief, you try not to be seen, so you want a darker color, which would be blue. And then if you're a police officer, you're obviously dressed in blue. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go that way. But, you know, can't argue with national tradition, I suppose. That's not a criticism, by the way. But anyways, yeah, the Patranger stuff has been selling badly. Or rather, it's not selling at all. Which is really unfortunate to hear. I almost picked up the two roleplay weapons, the Mega Bow and the Lupin Sword, I think it's what it's called, or Lupin Claw Sword, whatever that thing is. I almost picked that up, those two up. So, this was, in 2017, when we found out what this thing was going to be called and all those things, like, I'm good it has a flying mode, but this isn't even a thing. This is just kind of, I mean, is it trying to be a hot rod? Like, are these supposed to be engine intakes or something like that? I don't know. And the cockpit, you totally can't see past it. We're doing that whole Go Say Phoenix thing all over again. You know, which I really didn't want a repeat of that, but here we are doing it again. And then what was it? Whatever the pink, which I don't have. I'm not doing any of the Patranger toys. I didn't get any. The pink vehicle also has the exact same problem. The Pink Ranger can't. I can't think of her name. Is it Sango? Is it Patarin Sango? Pato Sango? Or is that what it is? Anyway, she can't see past her cockpit either. So, yawn. So, like, I want to believe that this is the Batmobile, but at the same time, it's very much not, and I'm really disappointed with it. So, since we're not dealing with any trigger machines in this video, I promise, we're just going to deal with it as its flight mode, where it's a dial fighter mode or whatever it is. I don't know. Where's the on-off switch? Gee, if only you'd looked at the instructions, you'd know where the on-off switch is. So apparently there's no on-off switch? Really? Considering it's using those little watch cell batteries, whatever it is, I'm going to be really, really disappointed if this doesn't have an on-off switch somewhere on it. Can this move? Yes. Okay. Where's the on-off switch? Show me. There's no on-off switch, really? Okay. So yeah, there's this thing, and it's a thing. I don't know. There's a couple of things that they could like do differently. So whatever. So that's the good striker. It's just kind of a mess of a thing. I kind of like it. Like, I want to like it, but I kind of can't. So I gotta check something here. And the wings themselves are ABS, but then the wing tips are PVC. The nose is ABS. You know, they didn't even paint like headlights on it, which is disappointing. They had the opportunity for headlights, but they didn't. Although the decal, Good Striker's face, very appropriate. I want to say it's like nose art from like World War II warbirds or things like that. You know, I kind of want to say that, but I'm not entirely convinced. So, yeah. Okay. Oh great, my dad came home. Wonderful. Oh wow, this thing has tons of buttons all over it. And my dad came home. Give me a minute. Just dial. That's a little too loud for my taste. smart enough to know the difference between... God, that was loud. Oh, there's a game of some kind in here. Yeah, I think this has some sort of a game mode in it, because I tried to interrupt it, and it said, it started with it said Patranger, and wait, why would you say Patranger when it's in the dial fighter mode? Well, you can actually interrupt it, so... Right here, this is where you can interrupt it. And that says Lupinranger again. Okay. Does it make any noise when you pull the trigger? The combined form of the of the dial fighters and the trigger machines and whatever, the gold, silver Ranger, that combined form, not only does it have a massive metal bar sticking out of one leg, which is really, really fucking lazy and stupid, and I hate it, but the shoulders don't move. And I'm not kidding when I say that. Like, you attach, however the hell it is you attach the thing, you can only move the elbows. It's actually on par or worse with Hyper Gosei Great in terms of articulation. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's like something was actually worse than Hyper Gosei Great. I cannot believe at the end of 2018 I'm saying this. All right. That's unnecessarily loud. They could have dialed that down a few notches. So it looks like you can use either the dial or the trigger, and it'll do exactly the same things regardless of which one you use. All right, let's get to it. Oh, does it know the difference? It doesn't know the difference. In other words, it's not a smart toy. Oh, it might be, because it's got this. Okay, I might have called that early. Wow, that is solid. Oh, you push down on the cockpit to release it. Well, it's good to know on telescoping legs that they have an option to lock that in place. That's good to know. I'm glad they did that. Now that they could actually put functional hips and knees in there, you could actually pose the damn thing. That would be nice. That's all the only, as far as I'm aware, the only difference between Lupinranger and Patranger is that. That's the only difference between the two. But since we're dealing only with Lupinranger, you want to pull these down. Gosh, that footprint is tiny. You're telling me they couldn't have extended that foot a little bit? Really? Is there any way to, like, push or... Gee, maybe if I had the instructions. No, they were so concerned about getting this stupid heel thing out of the way that they totally didn't think, well, we can actually have this pull forward a little bit. And it's, well, yeah, if it's going to be back heavy, it's going to be back heavy. Not what I can do about that. Boy, these fins are just in the absolute worst place possible. Wow, it didn't say anything. I was expecting it to make a noise. How does it know the difference? Oh, by the way, Lupinranger. How does it know the difference between which... Something tells me it doesn't know the difference. So here's Lupinranger, which was the first robo to appear in the show. And it left a very, very strong impression on me. Lupinranger. Okay, so those don't make any difference. Okay, so... Yes, we know, thank you. That is loud. Oh, don't tell me it doesn't know the difference. Oh. Okay, so that doesn't necessarily mean it knows the difference. He's not using any English, so I have no idea what he's saying. I don't think it does know the difference. Okay, well, first of all, how does it know the difference between when it's transformed and when it's not? And the answer is it doesn't know. Because it reacted exactly the same. That's loud. Yeah. So now it's said both Lupinranger and Patranger, despite the fact that this is the Lupinranger configuration. So in other words, there's multiple buttons on this. Well, I mean, there's two triggers. There's the actual trigger machine trigger, and then there's the dial, which is located at dial fighter trigger, which is in the back, right there, in its lower back. So you would think that, you know, depending on which one you used, it would make only the phrases from that particular allegiance, I'll say. But then there's a, by the way, yeah, I just discovered that. There's very much a little black button, which you're very much not going to be able to see. That's just above my finger there. It's kind of up under here. Inside there, that the wing very much pushes up against, but that doesn't trigger anything. It doesn't change the sound effects in any way. There's a different trigger right here next to the connection point. There's a hex joint right here. Right next to it, there's another button right here that gets pushed down, depending on, or not depending on nothing, like if one of the vehicles pushes down or not. So it's smart enough to know when something's plugged into it, but then it's not smart enough to know when things are plugged into it. Okay, so that little trigger, the hidden button on the top where the neck is, that actually, the red dial fighter is not pushing on that, which means the only thing that's being depressed at this point is that armpit trigger right there. That's the only thing that's being depressed. And despite being pressed on, it doesn't change the sound effects. It should, but it doesn't. So unless my version of this, my copy of this is busted in some way, which I doubt. Still, it looks kind of neat. I like it. It's a very daring design, having two completely different robots made of exactly the same center. That's very daring, and honestly, it would have been difficult to do it any other way. And that's not to say that other robos have not done that over time, but comparisons to Ranger have been made where you just doing a chest swap. That does make sense. It does make sense, although I really want it to know the difference between when there's a when there's a trigger machine in here and when there's a tile fighter sitting in here. So yeah, I may end up just removing the batteries just because it's so generic, and he's not saying anything in English, so I'm not getting anything out of it. And also, yeah, it is slightly too loud, so there's no acknowledgement of when you put the thing together, there's no acknowledgement, there's no change of sounds. There's one sound that says Lupinranger, and there's another sound that says Patranger, but that's it. But it doesn't know which one's which. So, there's another trigger in here, maybe. Let's see. By the way, they used a hex joint for attaching the head-mounted one. Oh, the blimp, the dirigible. I think it's called the Magic Dial Fighter, which I want to say Magic School Bus so badly, but that's not what it is. Anyways, that one serves as both a head and as a shoulder. So probably what happened is, for those trigger machines and dial fighters that serve as both an arm and as a head, that's probably why they've got that sitting in there. I'm probably going to remove the batteries. But one of the key things that sells this for me is the fact that he's incredibly agile in his debut, which just sold it right away. I was like, yes! How the hell is Pat Kaiser be able to compare to that? And the answer is, it can't. It just kind of jumps and whatever. But like this thing is just all over the place, and it's like, ah, hell yes! And by the way, it's got a Gatling cannon right there in the right arm, while sneakily they snuck in a little hand right there, so whatever. Kind of wish the gun had been able to fold back, so it would have been just a fist or just a gun, you know, kind of Mega Man kind of thing, but oh well. So it's not just that. Oh, by the way, standard articulation rotates every 45 degrees. Blah 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 blah. No articulation in the legs. You can put the legs together. Not good enough. That's not articulation. You can pull them apart again. You can telescope it, but you're not really going to get anything out of it. But what sells it, which, how long have I been asking for this? And how quickly did they abandon it, by the way? You've got elbows. You've got forearms that turn, which hasn't happened in, wow, it has been a long time since we've had forearms that can turn. And the other one is, holy shit, we've got forearms, we've got elbow articulation. Look at this, look at this. We haven't had this. Now, it's only the elbow only goes 45 degrees, but still the fact that they even did it, the fact that they even incorporated that in there, oh, now we just need to make that standard. Now we just need to make that standard affair. So that's amazing. By the way, this has a hand, but for whatever reason, why does that go through? Does this hold on to anything? Is there like a gun or something? I don't remember. I don't think it does. So yeah, I mean, there's a hand, a dedicated hand with a hole that goes all the way through. It goes all the way through the fist, but this one doesn't, so whatever. Ah, that's really awesome. And if you want to cheat a little bit, yes, you can actually turn the head. You can turn the face side to side, just a little bit, or else the face just like completely disappears. But you can actually make it look to the left and to the right, And because of how it transforms, and I actually showed it to you a little bit ago, you can actually get the arms to curve inward and they actually ratchet to this position. They ratchet, they lock into this position. Wow, that is fantastic. That is, I can't remember the last time they did that. I'd actually have to sit down and think about the last time there was shoulder articulation. Not where the arms go out to the sides, but where the arms actually go inwards towards each other. And it has double elbow joints. Not only do the elbows turn like this, but they also do this. I can't remember the last time. Well, there was Go Jujin from Gokaiger, which was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago at this point. The Goju Rex had elbows that could go up to 90 degrees. They could either go straight, 45, or 90. So there was that. But again, that was not an actual robo. That was not a completed form. But I mean, it did have elbows that moved independently, and it was a novelty thing because those elbows are not part of the transformation, so they could easily have just, you know, had it stuck at 45 degrees, and then that would have been the end of it. But no, they actually, you know, so that was great. But again, it wasn't a robo. It was a mode, but it wasn't a completed robo or anything like that. It looks neat. I like the look of it. A little messy in the back, but I can live with that. And hey, how many robos have I got where, you know, it's got lots of, and it's got all this shit in the back. Now, I did say that this was not going to be a Trigger Machine video. And believe it or not, I'm a man of my word. Once in a while. I want to say this is called the Scissors and Shield dial fighters. I don't know. But it's really the only accessory that I really wanted. So, yeah, whatever. Unfortunately, it's black. And it's going to be black, so... I mentioned in the video review that was just recently posted for what's it called, the Mystic Brothers from Patranger. I mentioned that accessory vehicles for Super Sentai that had weapons built to them. What else? You know, they have guns or, you know, big cannons or rifles. They have they've got drill bits. Oh my God, there have been tons of drills and cannons and scissors, and there have been all kinds of things like that. But a shield is something you don't see very often. A shield. So it's entirely possible that this may be the first. And no, I'm not forgetting. Was it Ankylovale from Patranger? That kind of doesn't count because it's both. I mean, it does have a rotating shield thingy on it, but it's also primarily a drill. So it's kind of both, but you can't really say it's one or the other. I tend to think of it as a drill that just so happens to have like an additional bore type tool on the side. I don't think of it as a shield. So it's entirely possible, with that said, it's entirely possible that this may very well be the very first shield accessory mecha in Super Sentai ever. Or up to this point. I mean, who knows what they're going to do next year. You know what they're doing next year? Nothing but dragons. Ryu Soldier. I don't know I haven't memorized the whole title yet, but it's Ryu Soldier. Dragon Rangers, Dragon Soldiers. You know, I was about this close to getting up the nerve to actually start writing down notes and stuff about my own Super Sentai fan fiction, which was going to be nothing but dragons. And then I found out this came along, and I'm like, if I try to publish it now, it's going to look like plagiarism. It's like, he's such a copycat. Ava tried to copy someone else. The Bandai Toyplex, they already did the all-dragon thing. Well, I think it's safe to assume at this point, considering the trends that Bandai-Plex and Toei have been following since 2000, I'll say 2003, with their obsession with limb swapping, that the idea that I had for what I call it Gaia Sentai Ryuger, which is my fanfic, which I haven't published yet. I haven't even written it yet. My idea for the mecha system and the weapons are probably, and wow, this sounds arrogant of me, probably going to be way better than what we get in Ryu Suture. Just saying. And again, I'm going to assume that I know what I'm doing without looking at it. It's been pretty good so far. And I'm not going to pull out the instructions, and I'm just going to let my transformationist roll with this one. That's great. So we've got the, I don't know what this one's called. I don't remember what they're called individually. It's like, I think it's sword and shield dial fighters. I think that's what they're called. But generally speaking, I think I'm going to call it the stealth style fighter because, well, that's pretty much what it is. Very much inspired by the F-117 Nighthawk, which is retired, by the way. I was surprised to hear that. It's like the stealth fighter is retired. How weird is that? The first generation stealth fighter is now no longer functional. I wonder if they'll put one in a museum or something like that. I saw one at an air show in 2002. I actually got to see it fly overhead. It was an incredible thing. And when I was at that air show, I tried to take some pictures of it, and this was in 2002, immediately following 9/11, by the way. I tried to take some pictures of it, and they actually had like Air Force guards around the Nighthawk. And one of them was like, "Sir, you can't take those photos. You can't take a photo from here." So I tried to take a photo of a Nighthawk, which is now retired, and they wouldn't let me do it. And here's his girlfriend. And they just stack on top of each other. And what's interesting is that when you turn this thing, it pins into the one on the bottom, so it's actually turning this at the same time. That's pretty neat. And it avoids that kind of uncomfortable situation of having two dials visible on the same vehicle at the same time. One just stacked inside the other. Now that's Japanese toy engineering at its finest right there. Just pops out. By the way, according to Bandai, Toei, and Plex, this is a sword. And it has just the tiniest of pegs, which I'm really not happy with. You can see that's where the thing slots in. It doesn't really matter which way it faces. And then you can take the nose, the sword part. I guess technically it's supposed to be like this, and then you put it together for its sword mode, which is really disappointing. I can see what they're trying to do, just like, oh my goodness, look at all that kibble on a stealth fighter. Bayformer Starscream would be very disappointed. Anyways, turns out this has its own sword. Actually, it's more of a scissors. I guess it'd be sword and scissors dial fighters. Go forward more than that? Nope. And does it ratchet? Well, it kind of does, and it kind of doesn't. Goes backwards. Why not? can give it a tail if you want to, although I don't know why you would. Guessing left arm, left arm. Heaven forbid your character was left-handed every now and then. Yeah, I kind of wish, now that I think, I wish the blue and yellow dial fighters, that when you snap this back into position, I kind of wish that there was some sort of a locking mechanism inside. I mean, it's locking it to prevent it from going up and down, which is fine. But I kind of wish there was a further locking that would prevent the elbow from functioning in this form. Like, when it does this, okay, whatever, and that's fine. Kind of should have locked. Or maybe I'll turn it this way. And the same thing with the blue dial fighter. So, let's get to sword mode. Oh, that's a nice tight fit. That's gonna get stuck forever. No ratcheting elbow. They gave up on that first chance they got. But it does have a swivel side to side. There you have, what's this called? I have no idea. You'd think there'd be more English on this thing, but there's not, unfortunately. So I'm guessing it's like Lupinranger, sword and shield mode, or maybe it's like shield Lupinranger or something like that. I saw it earlier today, but I totally didn't memorize it. And then coincidentally, in the attack form, it's a pair of scissors, but then when it's combined, it's a shield. That's an interesting twist on things. I'm not complaining. Although I suppose I could complain of the fact that you can't actually, well, you can kind of fold these away. If you hold the arm straight, you can fold the blades. But I'm not offended by the fact that it does this. What I'm more offended by is the fact that the elbow doesn't ratchet at 45 degrees. It'll ratchet at 90 degrees, so you can hold it straight like that for when the shield, the stealth. I guess it would be scissors dial fighter. It's supposed to do that, but then when it's in Lupinranger, you would think that there would be a ratchet at 45 degrees, but for whatever reason, there's not. What a strange choice. And the sword is a thing. It's a really thick sword. I kind of wish that it hadn't had the versus changer identification IDs. It's like, if you have this, you don't really need this because the versus changer already knows what's in there. I should point out, I think it's either movie exclusive or like direct-to-video exclusive. They did a repaint of this, so it's kind of a Goldian hammer from Gal Gaigar kind of thing, where instead of forming a sword, it's like a mallet or a battle hammer of sorts. So they actually changed the blades. They changed the shape of the blades. They remolded it, and then they've repainted the whole thing. Excuse me. I might get that. I'm not certain. Considering this is end of the year and production for Lupin Pato is pretty much over at this point. Probably won't get it. So, you know what really sucks is it's a PVC handle going into an ABS fist, and the friction is really strong on this thing, and I'm terrified that PVC is going to get stuck in there and it's never going to come out, and then it'll never be able to hold this ever again. It's kind of an issue. Oh, I just thought of something. I wonder if it'll do it. Oh, well, how about that? Now we're talking. Now it's, does it do this in the show? I'm guessing it does, because well, why else would they have that go all the way through except to be super cheap? It's not like they haven't done that before, by the way. But, yeah, I can get behind that. And then, for additional articulation, you tilt those. Whoa, maybe not. For additional articulation, you can flip open those wings, and you can have them tilt out a little bit. Oh, by the way, I figured all of that out without any instructions whatsoever. Just by looking at pictures. I figured out the whole thing without any instructions whatsoever. That's slightly sad. On the flip side, not only is it super vehicles, but they do indeed transform. Like, this does transform. Even if it's just a style thing, this moves, and you do have to flip this around. But it's part of the articulation. They've added articulation that ordinarily we wouldn't be. I mean, it's entirely possible they could have been super cheesy and had them attach in this way so the cockpit was facing forward. But no, they decided to do it from the side. God damn it. My finger hit his lower back. They decided to attach it from the back and attach it from the back, which also, by the way, hides the attachment point. It disappears entirely. You don't see it in the vehicle mode, which is great, which is something that Gosager didn't do. But they allow us to get articulation here. Oh, man. Oh, that is so worth it. That's worth the entrance fee right there. This is pretty solid. I mean, it's got a bunch of nothing on the back and these reader things or whatever it is here. And the irony of the situation is that it's got a hex joint sitting where the neck is, but you can't. Well, you can kind of turn the head side to side if you like force it. Isn't that ironic? We almost had head articulation, or neck articulation. Almost. We were that close. But not quite. Doesn't really work. So no, I'm not getting the, what's it called? I am not getting the what's it called? Oh, I don't know what it's called, the Silver Gold Ranger, the Trader, whatever. I don't know what he's called, and quite frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I'm not getting that, and I'm probably not going to get any of the other accessories. Like, this is enough for me, and this is pretty cool by itself, so I can live with this. Am I going to get the crane? No, because it's boring and it doesn't transform. This transforms, okay? Even if it's for articulation, that's transformation, okay? So that counts. That works for me. And oh, by the way, it has this as well. So am I going to get the crane? No. Am I going to get the fire truck? No. Am I going to get the blimp, the magic dial fighter? No. Am I going to get the blue and gold and red tank? I might get it, but I'm not certain. And I would be getting it out of context. Am I going to get the cargo plane 747? No. Oh, am I going to get the motorcycle? Not really, no. Because unless you have Patranger, or unless you have the trigger machines for Patranger, there's not really any point to getting is it called? Cyclone, I think is what it's called, whatever, the motorcycle thing. I'm not going to get that. And am I going to get oh, no, the green one, the helicopter thing, which is what I was talking about with this. Am I going to get the helicopter thing? No. Not really. There's a couple dozen ways they could have done a helicopter. You don't do it by overloading the blades and then having them shift apart and then fold to the sides and then having it be very off-center. And by the way, what kind of... No. They could have done that very, very differently. This is impressive. This is impressive. The cyclone thing, no, I'm not going to get it. Am I going to get the kind of the Goldian hammer version of this? Maybe someday in the distant future, but I doubt it. Am I going to get the trigger machines, the basic trigger machines for Ichigo, Sango, and Nigo? Am I going to get those? They're still on sale. I actually got the individual trigger machine, yeah, right. I got the individual dial fighters for it was like $11.59 or something like that each. And then I want to say this was like $30 or $40, something like that. So it was like $70 or $80 for those four. And then I had to pay, it's like $12 or $13 for this, so, you know, whatever. Because I did not get this from Hobby Link Japan. It was already sold out there, so I got this from somewhere else. I got this from Amazon. I got this from a store on Amazon. So, am I gonna get any more than this? I might go for Pat Kaiser. I might. But the sound effects, yeah, those batteries are gonna go as soon as I'm done doing this. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm not happy. Why is this thing sticking down like this? What is this? So in terms of like the triumphant return of super vehicles to Super Sentai, it's okay. It's alright. It's not really that great. Just like it's limb swap, and I'm sick of limb swap. Like this is neat. This is an exception, okay? And these are neat. These are exceptions because they've got elbow articulation, okay? And they didn't even bother with a hand on this side. So okay, that's good. This thing is just this is just a hot load of nothing right there. That's what that is. It doesn't do anything useful. This is a case of having you use your imagination, but there's no indication whatsoever of what it actually does. If there was like a cannon barrel inside there where the face is, that would be different. But it's a hot load of nothing. So it's not a great triumphant return to super vehicles, but I've got this. This. Oh, by the way, whoa. I'm sorry. By the way, this is December 2nd. This is December 2nd. No, there has been no carrier. No big gestalt. We're at the end of the series, folks. This is it. What we have seen from Lupin v. Pato is it. There's going to be no ultra class combination. There's not even going to be a carrier. It's not a carrier. It's not a PlayStation where, you know, like the Deca Base Robo from Ranger, which was actually a good police show, by the way, a good police version Super Sentai. There is no big brick for me to complain about. It's the was it the super cool Emperor God X, whatever the fuck that thing is called, with the gold and the thing and the big pink piece of shit that sticks out here, and the complete lack of complete lack of shoulders. It has elbows that go 45 degrees, which is actually worse than it is on Hypergosy Gray. There's that stupid thing that I'm never, ever, ever going to get. And beyond that, that's it. No carrier, no big brick, no $120 investment. It's all the smaller accessories, and once in a while it's a head change. Which is surprising. Not necessarily bad. They kept them small, which is kind of a good thing, because except for the Good Striker and whatever the fuck that train is, it doesn't even look like a train. It does a I don't even. Aside from those, oh, I forgot, the Good Striker does have a movie exclusive repaint. Am I going to get that? Probably not. Because I've got this, and that's kind of enough. I do like the big shoulder things. I wonder how they attach. Maybe they like just attach by sliding on here, which I would not be opposed to. But yeah, no big base, no big finishing combiner piece of shit. I think they finally got the message. In addition to the fact that we're sick and fucking tired of battery-powered gimmicks and spring-powered gimmicks and animals and also some more animals, and they've done animals every which way that could possibly happen, except for dragons and except for insects. God damn it! I think they finally realized that like the big carrier thing is just not worth it. So unless they're going to sneak in a carrier within the next month and a half, which I seriously doubt, because like it might even be the week, like today or tomorrow, that we'll start getting the first official pictures of Ryu Soldier. I mean, they could be posting it right now, and I wouldn't be aware of it because it's 6:30 p.m. on December 2nd as I'm finishing this up. They could be posting it right now, and I don't know, because that would be 2 months before the release, which is standard. December is when we find out. So not only are we not getting a huge carrier, but there's no indication of kind of an ultimate clusterfuck of all the Versus vehicles and whatever it is you want to call us. That's not happening. And if it had happened, we would have heard about it in October or even September. We would have heard about it, but we didn't. So what we have up to this point is it. It's a bunch of smaller vehicles. So good in a way, bad in a way, and you could pick and choose and kind of mishmash them how you see fit without having it be one way being official or the other. But in terms of my personal taste, this is probably as far as it's going to go. Am I going to get the Versus Changer? Not really. I don't think so, no. Am I going to get the Mega Bow? Mega Bow is funny, but I'm good, thanks. Lupin Sword. A sword that has a claw on the end. It's kind of the thing that I was hoping they'd do with the, was it Boken Red's staff? Because it was a staff, or it was a spear that had a claw on the end. So it's kind of the same thing, and I kind of didn't like that. So this is kind of like Boken Red's weapon part 2, and I was just, whatever. So I mean, this may very well be all I ever get from Lupin v. Pato. And honestly, that doesn't really disappoint me at this point. And it's not like I haven't been doing that for the last, 5 or 6 years, or even longer. Getting, one robo, one accessory, and then calling it good. So they got some of my money this year, but just not, I don't know what to say at this point, so I guess that's my cue to stop. Is that my cue to stop? Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Yeah, I still want to get a couple of Power of the Primes. I still want to get some of those. And I need to get my hands on some more Masterpiece Transformers. I still want to get more of those. Alright, I think I'm done. I'm done. Nah, I see what they did there. Huh. And so with that, this is AV Unit 4A saying thank you for tuning in.